was one time I
Yeah.
got rated for over 100 viewers, and my mind was blank.
You
You know what I mean?
fumbled.
I fumbled.
Yeah.
I fumbled. I wasn't ready for it. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite boys. Hi. What's up with you? You want to talk to me?
I just thought you had started recording and then you didn't, but it's totally fine. All right, guys. Today is the best day ever because today we are at 13 subs and I'm beyond ecstatic because we were talking about thinking, man, we're doomed. We're not getting subs. And then someone subscribed and I just thought, wow, big hearts for them. Dude,
Before
shout
we
out.
get into today's topic, make sure to subscribe. Why not? That's today's sponsor. You already know the vibe. Quick click before we get into it. But getting into it, guys, today's topic is dead dreams.
And don't
What
forget
are
to like the video.
Oh,
You
you
forgot
got it.
that.
Okay. This is
They
why we're
have to
talking
like
about
the
dead
video.
dreams. No, 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 no. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's We're gonna have dead dreams if you don't like the video too.
Okay.
Please, please. Anyways,
Can we use the D word on stream or on YouTube? I think we can,
I
right?
think so. Yeah, yeah.
Here,
I,
when you're playing video games, they'll say, "Oh my god, I can't believe I died." So I mean,
I guess that's true.
I
I don't
feel
know.
like I say it all the time, right? When you're talking about when you're in a video game. Anyways,
Yeah,
go ahead,
that's
go
true.
ahead. Start us off. Sorry, go for it.
Okay. What am I doing?
What do you mean? You're gonna start us off on Dead Dreams.
Oh yes. Oh, sorry. Okay, so going back to it. I'm so sorry. I just completely forgot what was going on. Guys, today's topic, dead dreams. Why I want to talk about it. So, it is very common, I think, for a lot of people to have dreams. It's something that everyone has. Everyone has a big goal, something they want to
I
do.
have dreams.
You have dream. What name a dream?
I don't know. I slept last night, so I had a dream, right?
I I hate this guy. Anyways, speaking of dreams, it can be hard. Sometimes wanting something is usually because it's hard to achieve, and it's very it's something that we always want to strive towards where we just have the thought and we're like, it'd be nice to do that. That's something I've always
Mm,
wanted. However, a big issue is that no one wants to work for it, or they feel like, why should I when someone's already doing it kind of deal, you know? Um, Going to it, it's kind of like a content creation, right? Where someone might have a lot of millions of views, and you start off, you have like five, and you're like, that guy's getting millions, and I think I'm funnier and cooler than them, right?
mm.
But then you give up, and essentially, what becomes a dead dream because you stop chasing after it. However, it's one of those things where you have to work towards it no matter what because they didn't just wake up one day. Yeah, you can get lucky, but a lot of people, if you check their history, they've been posting for years, as an
Mhm.
example. And
Yeah.
y- for years, I mean, that doesn't sound like they just woke up one morning and they got their dream like
Yeah.
you're trying to
And
achieve.
today's podcast, I don't really want to make it on what you should do. Dude, a million videos on YouTube of what you should do if you want to be a content creator or when you want to start a business or anything, right?
Hmm.
I think this video is mostly going to be on mental space when it comes to those conversations and how people respond to you. And we were talking about it right now. So, Hype, what frustrates you when you're giving people advice on being better at Smash Bros? Because Hype himself was actually a regionally high ranked player, and people would come up to him and they'd be like, "Hey, Hype, I need advice."
So specifically in this thing, I at the time wanted to be a really good player. But I really liked playing Smash Brothers and I knew I wanted to be the best, right? Everyone wants to be the best, but I wanted it more. And what I started doing was I legit started posting in threads. I'm like, hey guys, here's a VOD of me playing. Like, what could I have improved on? Or I looked at other matchups that were similar, this and that. But
Mhm.
most people, when they ask me, right? Because people will ask you once you start getting like, once you start showing results, people will look at you and they're like, well, he did something right. What did he do? And when that happened to me, people started asking me, how'd you do it? Like you just woke up one day and it clicked, and I'm like, I wish that was true. I wish that was true because
Yeah.
I that's anything but. I went the
Yeah.
mile. I played the game more. I practiced more characters. I practiced situations. I labbed it out. I constantly did it. I asked other people for help. There's no problem with any of that. Always find Any little piece that can help you there, you know?
But do you feel like there is talent involved or that a person has to have talent to achieve their dream?
See, and my mindset, it's always been that I'm not going to deny the fact that some people might start further than you, maybe even behind you, right? Some people are natural at things when they pick up something. A game, for example, right?
Mhm,
So sometimes a friend just understands it more, whether it be they have more experience in that type of genre or maybe they just got quote unquote lucky.
mhm,
It's something that they got a head start. But just because they got a head start doesn't mean you can't catch up. Or just because you're ahead doesn't mean you can't fall behind. It's it's the
yeah,
effort you put afterwards that really shows the progress you get to continue. There's a lot of times
yeah,
where I pick up a game and sure I'll do better than average at first, but I have a friend here who's like, I've been grinding this game, I've been looking at videos, I've been part of the community, this and that, and they start destroying me. And
mhm.
and I'm supposed to feel like, oh no, that's bad for me. Like, how am I losing now? They're putting in the effort. They
Yeah,
deserve that.
um, I do believe talent is important, and let's say explain it even in a smaller. So for me, I remember getting really introduced to StarCraft 2 by a friend that really, really wanted me to really grind it out. And they had been hard stuck either silver or bronze. I think bronze. I don't know if like it was low gold or whatever, right? And then I got really into the game, I think for like 2 weeks, maybe a month. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And I could tell how bothered they were that they had put a lot more hours on the game than I had. 100%, 100%, they had put more hours than I had at that point. They'd been playing the game for 6 months, and I'd played the game maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, kind of thing. And I easily easily beat him, kind of thing. And I think I was in gold at the time when I beat him, right? So it's not like I'm, diamond in 3 weeks or diamond in the first month kind of thing. But in the sense that my friend here had been playing for 6 months and he's like, yeah, or I'm so good, or like I'm getting so much better.
Right.
And then for you to beat them out, right? There's no denying that to some extent there's the natural capability when you start something, right, how you're mentioning, where someone is going to be at a certain level. They're going to be sometimes higher, they're going to be sometimes lower. But I think it's how good you are at progressing. And I remember there's even a story that constantly gets reminded, oh, well, there was this chess champion that became a karate champion in his life as well. But I think for people like that, where they can master multiple things, it's not necessarily talent. If anything, it's the capability of being able to improve quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard. I don't think everybody is as capable in improving quickly as others.
Right, and that's a good point too, because sometimes you can want something, but your work ethic needs to match it, or it needs to be high, because sometimes people are willing to do the maximum, and I mean the most effort you've ever seen, constant, constant progression towards it. Like for example, in the example with in the StarCraft scenario, yeah, the friend who is in bronze or silver can keep playing the game, but are they learning anything, or maybe are they changing anything?
Yeah, and they stopped playing because I beat him. And it was very obvious, right? Because he just stopped logging
And
on or he
and
stopped participating.
that shouldn't be what happens. When your friend beats you, you learn from them. You need to help each other. One thing that people don't understand is you need to help each
This
other
is
push
this pisses you
upwards.
off for sure.
Like, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that now that someone's better than you and getting to show you what you can
In a
do
faster
better.
time frame, yeah.
Yeah, like I want to know what he did. How did he do it? Let me try to learn. Let me see what he's doing different from me. Uh,
Yeah.
if someone, when I was in the Smash competitive scene, if someone comes in and beats me, I am not thinking, oh, well, I guess that's it for your boy. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to push myself further. Pushing
Yeah.
yourself further at the end of the day is the best thing you could do because you only improve. Worst case scenario, you learn something new. Like but not don't quit. Don't quit on that, especially if you really enjoyed it, right? It
Yeah, exactly.
it just it doesn't make sense. And going back to it, one thing that really bothered me when people would ask for advice from me is they would ask, what would you suggest I do? And I'd give them my 2 cents, right? Obviously, I'd be like,
Hmm.
after playing you and seeing you, I would probably suggest you tend to be a fault in this aspect. Try working on that.
Yeah.
People's reactions would destroy me. They would tell me, I I don't need to do that, or no, I don't think
Dude,
that's it.
okay. This is the biggest dream killer. 100% to me, from my perspective, and I think that's Hype's perspective too. Bro, if you're asking me for advice and I give you advice and you tell me I don't think you're right, brother, you're the one asking.
Yes.
I didn't come up to you and tell and give you advice, like unsolicited
Unsolicited,
advice,
yeah.
right? You're the one that came up to me and said, "Hey, Robert, I see that you're really into Pokemon cards now, right?" And then you tell them, and they'll respond, I don't know if I like that strategy. Okay, bro, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Leave me alone, dude.
Do
Like,
yeah, do what you want, but if you're gonna ask me for advice, I'm gonna tell you what I think, right? It is your
yeah,
option to take it or not, obviously, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been wrong. I've been wrong
yeah,
about certain aspects, but opening in a new eye is what helps you improve, you know? Like being open to the even the suggestion of hearing them lets you know something better, you know?
okay. So I just realized as well. I think the reason these comments or sound like dream killers, from my perspective, is because of how their brain is functioning is very blatantly stopping them from improving.
Hmm.
So it's similar to how when you play a game of 5 players called League of Legends or Marvel Rivals, the six, anything, Overwatch, whatever the fudge, you play soccer, you play football, anything, any sport, anything that has a team aspect. Oh, we lost because of that guy is to blame. So it's a very blame heavy mental, but also I think it's there's a word for this, but basically you say it's not reasonable or it's not possible to fix that thing. So when you come up to me and you're like, "Hey, I need advice on this game. How do I get better?" And then you tell them, and then instead of responding with a question saying, "So why this?" Right? That would be a proactive question. Hey,
Yep.
but not a but why? Why is that happening?
Hmm.
Why would you say that? Why are you thinking that? So that's a proactive question of trying to understand what it is that I said or what it is that Hype just said as to the explanation. A difference is creating an argument with the person that you're asking the advice. That's what I mean is different, because when you create an argument, you're not being proactive in how you're going to resolve your problem. You're simply deciding that your version of your reality is true, even if you already don't believe it, which is weird to say that, right? Because you don't believe it because you're asking someone for advice. So you
Hmm.
know you don't believe it, but you're still choosing to live in that reality. It's hard to explain it too because that's not the type of person I am,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm acknowledging as we're talking about it. That I think is what it is.
And and just to brush up on this, because I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm perfect. I'm pretty close, but I'm not perfect. It's a shocker, really. I'm I'm just as confused as you are. I have asked many people, especially in streaming, right? I like streaming on Twitch. I
Mhm.
just like streaming games. I think I'm a good player. Obviously, that's one thing I'm going to talk about that I like playing, right? I think I'm a good gamer. Why am I not getting views? I'm going to ask someone who's doing great, and I have some friends who shown some success on Twitch, right? And if I went up to them and asked, what should I do? And they tell me, and I either A, don't listen to them, or B, don't even try to attempt those things, I'm I'm setting myself up for the same thing. Like if I'm not gonna change, I'm not just gonna wake up one day and wow, millions of followers. That there's no logic there.
Oh, the expectation of success. That's our next topic on this journey here. The expectation of I should be successful. Think about it like this. Think about it like this. Content creation, gaming, anything is very similar to the expectations of success. You are either not being realistic or you're not trying to improve, kind of thing. And I can use an example of, let's say, a math test. You did not study for the math test. You show up to the math test and you expect to pass. It's the same thing with everything else in life. It's just complicated that you would show up to a gaming tournament, as an example, having had 0 hours of practice in the last 2 weeks, and then expect to win the whole thing. Be so for real with
Eh,
yourself. Or saying, I practiced for like 5 hours yesterday. Okay, how much did you practice for the month? I practiced for 5 hours yesterday. What are you talking? Bro, no. You cannot expect to win a massive 200 player, 50 player, 10 player tournament
mm-hmm.
and say that you studied 5 hours. Can you expect to pass a test when you've only studied for, depending on the test at this point, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when you've only studied for 5 hours and it's like it's the whole test, it's the whole semester, right? And you studied for 5 hours, be so for real.
It also depends on your work ethic because in those 5 hours, how did you even approach it, right? Like for example, if I
I
want to
was
get
gaming with the homie.
yeah, like exactly. If I want to get better at a game and I'm just doing the same thing each time, but I
Yeah,
was like I prepped for this by playing 5 hours yesterday. I mean, you do that all the time. Why was that so special compared to the other times? Did you learn anything? Like, did
yeah.
something click, you know? And maybe you played those 5 hours, but maybe you took a different approach. Like, even if you took a different approach, you learn more there, right? Because if you can visually try to judge yourself and be like, oh, I can improve on that, you're learning. Whether it be slow or fast, depending on the pace, that's what's important. You know, you could be doing something for 50 hours, whether it be like I played this for 100 hours compared to someone who played for 10 hours, but they looked at their faults or where they can improve.
And we do that here on the podcast because every time before we record ourselves and every time after we record ourselves, what can we do better? How can we improve? And we're on episode what, 13? Right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we're on 13. So that, I think, to us, right? Because we like self-improvement. I think it shows that we knew episode 1 wasn't our best one. We knew episode 12 wasn't our best one. We know episode 13 is not going to be our best episode. But it's one of those things of, how are our shorts doing? How are our long form doing? What can we say? How can we word ourselves better? What topic are we picking? Do we feel like it's an important topic? And I think it's just our personalities in that sense. And I think the conversation of dream killers, right?
Hmm.
We It's, to me, it's just frustrating that people want to be upset at the world for not giving them a chance.
Yeah,
Lottery tickets.
yes, yes, and
Lottery tickets.
exactly. Okay, so that brings up to my next point. People act like their dream has to be a lottery ticket. They act like if I won the lottery, my life would be set, you know?
Yeah,
I just need to win the lottery. But in some cases, that's not necessarily true. Or even if it is, why would that stop you? You know?
yeah.
Because if you if if you need to bank on winning the lottery, first of all, ask yourself how many people you know have won the lottery. Like anyone have you
Yeah.
ever encountered?
So,
I feel like I know a lot of people and I don't know anyone who's won
so
the lottery.
gaming example, right? Gaming example in a tournament. Your opponent just lost a stock because he fell off the map unintentionally. That is a lottery ticket to some extent, if you think about it, right?
Hmm.
Because that is an opportunity that you have been given. And you'll still lose the 2 stocks, right?
Yeah.
The guy won't even lose a stock. But that's an example of, you were given a lottery and the fact that you couldn't capitalize on it, or something of the sense of, if our first video got 1 million views, that's us winning the lottery.
Yeah.
But are we ready for it? Or what would we feel from the second episode? kind of thing, or for anyone, do you feel like if you made a viral video that you can continuously do it again? Not everybody can. Sometimes someone just gets lucky, they get 500,000 views, and then that's it. They can't keep doing it. They don't know how to do it again.
Yeah, and I've argued in the past, right, where I stream on Twitch and I don't have that many viewers. However, if I had viewers, I would talk more and I'd be more engaging, right? There was one time I
Yeah.
got rated for over 100 viewers and my mind was blank.
You
You know what I mean?
fumbled.
I fumbled.
Yeah.
I fumbled. I wasn't ready for it. But the thing is, because I kept making that excuse, right? Like I just kept saying like, dude, when I get that chance, ooh, I'm gonna get everybody in there.
That
But that's not
would
necessarily
be
true.
so funny.
And the funny bone out of my body, the moment. And what? Am I
Yeah.
gonna say, oh, they got me on a bad day? No, because great chances are that if that happens again, the same thing's gonna happen again, you know? And
Yeah. Exactly.
realizing that is what people need to see for themselves, because sometimes you can post a video and it only gets like 100 views. That is 100 more views than you had before. And also picture a room of a
Of a
hundred
hundred
people
people.
watching you. That is something. I have a background in theater. I love when the stage is like, it's a full audience, right? But
Yeah.
but even when it's half the audience, I'm happy. I'm so
Or
ecstatic.
20 people. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
like
20 people are watching you perform, it's exciting.
I worked hard on this. You're gonna watch, and people are like, "You did amazing. You did great." Maybe one person is like, "Actually, I hated your character. You smell like cheese," and I'm like, "Okay, well, that's a little too
Yeah.
personal." Um, but the thing is, like, it's something I worked for, and I'm happy about it. Thank you for
Mhm.
coming to take your time. And I, if I hadn't done it at all, like if I wasn't in the role or didn't do theater, I didn't even get to get that experience in the first place. And
Yeah.
is it really your dream if you're not really trying to make the effort to see it a reality?
Yeah. We talked about a few people we're not going to mention because it's, but we talked about a few people before the podcast that they were given a golden ticket. Hey, here you go, bro. Here is your card to success. Don't forget to cash it in. And they cash it in and they're not ready for it. Hype's he just set an example. He was given a ticket, but he wasn't ready for it. Where he had 100 viewers at a moment, but he wasn't ready. He wasn't prepped up. He hadn't set himself up for that moment. But because of that moment, I assume that's when you said, "Okay, I gotta, improve to be able to succeed if that were to happen again."
Yeah,
Right?
and it goes to the mindset of like, hey, whether it be zero or a million, I have to prove that I could do it. Whether I'm speaking to the void or not, there has to be a world where you feel comfortable and being positive about it. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, like, let's say I stream to zero viewers for a long time, and if I still have that mindset of being like, let me pretend like there's a lot of people, you get better at it. Your work is not going for nothing. If like
Yeah.
in any example, you will grow as a person, and maybe you won't realize it because you're being hard on yourself. But let me give you an example. If I had this podcast idea, right? And I said I really want to do this and it's going to be great and this and that. We do the first episode, right? It only has 10 views, and then I'm like, "Oh man." If my mindset was like, "Oh man, that's not that's not a million views." And then I stop, and then next year I revisit this. Imagine how much I could have grown had I just done it that whole year. Whether
Yeah.
and even if I didn't go crazy, like let's say I just had 1,000 subs, first of all, that's 1,000 more subs than I would have right now, and I would be so happy about it, you
Yeah.
know? And that's something
And
I think people forget about.
when it comes to fame or social media, let's say social media, because I think a lot of people really want to be TikTok creators or anything, right? People don't understand that it's an exponential growth. So if you have 5 followers, you're more likely to get 1 follower. But if you have 5,000 followers, you're more likely to get 10 followers or some sort, an
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
right? Or 100, 1,000. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Numbers are
The point
weird.
is, the more you have, the more you'll get. The rich get richer. It's and it follows the same idea in content creation where if you have a million subs, more people are going to subscribe to you than the people that have 10 subs. And but I appreciate to the 13 that are here. Let's go.
I I will also say food for thought. There's some people who have like hundred of thousands of subscribers that only increase by a little bit and they're like stuck. They'll be stuck at like a
Yeah.
100,000. They have the following. Why aren't they growing quicker? You'll see smaller channels that grow, and yes, you can argue like, well, obviously they're going from zero to like a higher number, right?
Mhm.
But the people with 100,000, most people would think they have a greater chance to succeed than the 10 channel one. But that's not necessarily true because again, it goes down to work ethic. You can correlate this to like the talent thing we said earlier, where if some people will have a head start, maybe you'll have a head start and your friends will be behind, but that's not stopping them from catching up.
Yeah, dude. I You just made me realize some people will have social media accounts where they made one video, they got 3 million views, and then everything after that it's like 10,000 or 2,000 or even less than 500 because they don't know how to replicate it. And I think it's really fun for me and Hypey that as we're watching our shorts grow, because right now we're popping off. Yo, shout out to you guys for watching. But we have over 20,000 views already on our shorts. And it's really exciting for us because we're watching our own shorts and we're thinking, what did people like about this? Can we do it again? Can we replicate it? Do people love our podcast or are they going to come check it out?
And
So, yeah, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, and I'm so judgmental of myself. I hate I hate hearing myself talk. I'm pretty sure everyone can agree. Like they kind of have that mindset. But there's a lot of times where I rehear a conversation from myself, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I said that. And and at the end of the day, though, when I see the view count, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't have posted that myself in the past. But now that I did, I get to see a higher view count. And
Yeah.
like we said before, it's a number we didn't get to see in the past, right? Like 1,000 videos, I mean, 1,000 view per short. And I'm just like, before that would have been zero. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Because, um, and as it is, we're having this conversation while averaging, I'm going to say three, averaging 3 views per podcast episode. And even then, the fun part for us is just like, okay, but can we be consistent and can we get better at it while no one's watching?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Cinema.
Yeah.
Cinema. Because, yeah, like, here and there, we also notice that people watch 40 minutes of a full episode of a podcast, and we feel so honored when that happens. But it's one of those things that no one was watching. We didn't know how many people were going to watch it. But for that one person to have enjoyed our company for 40 minutes, it feels special to me, at least.
Yeah, like how I said it in theater, right? Like my experience in theater, there's sometimes where you practice your lines or you
Mhm.
practice your show in front of like just one friend, and your friend will
Yeah.
be like, "That was amazing," and you're like, "Oh, thanks." Like I
Yeah.
needed
Really,
that
it really does. Yeah.
because it shows that your progress is for something, you know? A lot of people will be
Yeah.
like, "All this work and for what? For no one?" But
I think people don't improve, right? They get stagnant, and then when they ask for advice, they contradict whoever tries.
mhm,
And right now, if we ever feel like we're stagnating, we'll ask for advice, and we'll say, "Hey, what do you think I can do better?" And we'll make sure that we're asking questions with why, not I don't know if you're right. So don't just don't argue, man. That's really it. I think I don't even consider myself a success. I'm going to be honest. I have a lot of skills. I'm very capable. Shout out to me. But, you know, I'm unemployed, right?
right.
And to some extent, as a dude that's 28 years old, you're self-conscious about it. That thinking like, man, like maybe I'm a failure and maybe I didn't pull it off or I'm not going to be successful and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where you wake up in the morning and you think, what can I do better than I did yesterday?
Right. Because when you were younger, like picture this perspective. A long time ago, you didn't have the skills you currently have. Whether you were
Yeah.
really bad at games, whether you didn't know much about like, your degree or whatever you do for work, you don't realize it, but you're really good at what you do. You ask, like I'm really good at just like general computer stuff. Like you know how to use Excel sheet? A lot of people will look at you like you're generational talent. Like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, no way.
yeah. It's funny. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of skills that sometimes we have that we don't consider how much more skilled. I don't like using how I said that sentence, but how much more skilled you are than other people at it until someone sees you doing it and say, "Wow, you're pretty good at that." And I'm just thinking, I mean, it's fine. It's just whatever. It's just another day.
And I'll argue that there's been times in my life where I'm like, well, then why am I even good at that? Like,
Yeah,
is it for nothing? Like how can I use this? But
that's true, right? Because I don't know. I don't know if it's a dude thing. I don't know where that like itch is of am I doing enough or am I as successful as I need to be? Right. I think it's a dude thing. I maybe it's how we're raised in America and how the world wants us to. You have to be making a shit ton of money and you have to be have a family and stuff like that. So it's tricky.
and it's why sometimes like social media can be rough because you'll see other people's success, but
Yeah.
anytime you compare yourself to others, like if I like singing, I'm not going to compare myself to the best singer in the world. That's
Yeah.
just
That's
asking for
fair.
failure. That's asking for like um you will get there when you get there, but you
I
can't unless
know.
you take the first step.
True.
You're
True.
not
True.
gonna
True.
leave
True.
the house unless you take the steps out of the door. Like
Yeah.
everyone else did, but what about you? You can't
Yeah.
just bank on the lottery. And because even if you won the lottery, like are you still making the progress to like go and collect the ticket? You know?
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, like it's just something that I feel like people should be more open about because you are probably way better at
Be
a lot of things
ready.
that you don't know.
Yeah. Be ready to win the lottery because if you win it, you have to make sure that you know how to cash it in.
I
I
would
think
be
that's big.
I would be mad if I lost my ticket. Let's get it clear. I win the lottery and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, those were my numbers." And I'm like, and it's just
Yeah. I lost it or I didn't pull it off kind of thing. I feel you.
yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah, I know. Um I will say this just as a closing statement. Um I used to be very what's the word close-minded? Like not
of what?
open-minded.
You have to explain what it is that you're
So
talking about.
I used to be in the aspect where I was very worried. I'm very concerned. I'm like
Subconscious?
maybe where I'm just worried about myself and my content, and I'm like, what if it doesn't do good? What if I don't?
Subconscious. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
what if
word.
what if I don't do great? Like, what if I'm not the best Smash player? What if my content is no one finds entertaining? What if no one thinks I'm funny? You know, all these things I'm not gonna find out unless I try. I didn't find out if I was good at Smash until I went to tournaments. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
find out if people find me funny unless I go out and do like stand-up comedy, for example. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
find out if people like my singing unless I go sing. And it keeps continuing. But no one's gonna know unless you show yourself and go try. So I would
yeah,
encourage you to challenge yourself, take the first step. Take whatever you
yeah,
need to express yourself and do what you want to do. Because can tell you what you need to do, but whatever comes from you is ultimately going to put you on top and make your character really shine.
exactly. Are you
Right?
excited?
For
Episode 13. They're in the books. Oh, we didn't do a secret word. Secret word will be ramen?
guys, he ate ramen before this. I gotta come clean. A lot of people have
Why
been
would you
asking
tell
me. A
them?
lot of
Don't
people have
tell
been
them.
asking me what is Innovate eating before the podcast, and it's ramen.
Ramen.
So make sure to let us know your favorite ramen in the
Chat,
comments.
comment your favorite type of ramen. If you don't comment your favorite type of ramen, how do I know you really like ramen?
Ramen haters are popping off right now, I'll say.
What is your order when you go to the ramen house? ramen. What is it called?
Oh,
Pop-ups? No, ramen something.
yeah, warrior noodle. There's one like that.
No, but you're talking about locally, brother. I'm talking
Oh,
about
oh,
like
my
just in
bad, my bad.
general. It's
Oh
just
my,
like a ramen, not a
that's
cafe, right? But
that
like.
was stupid. I shouldn't have said that.
All
Anyways,
right, chat.
guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe, tell your friends, all that shebang. Um, we'll see you guys next time. Let us know if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss in the comments. Thanks for watching.